Music is one of those things that makes man feel closer to the divine. See, Johann Sebastian Bach put it as, the final aim of all music is nothing other than the glorification of God and the refreshment of the soul. Now, I'm not here to give you a Bible lesson, because ultimately, but what I do want to say is that music has in it an inherent truth, okay? Ralph Murphy, who was a very prominent songwriter, not singer, he was one of those corporate guys who were hired to write songs for certain people, and he was pretty damn good at it. Anyway, he lectured, and I'm paraphrasing, that what makes music appealing to people is when they can see themselves within that song. If the song is properly inviting, as in it makes you want to listen to it, if the song uses ambiguous pronouns, instead of using him, her, he did uses you, which makes the listener feel like it's talking directly to them. If it has audience participation, like a part where everybody sings, think about like Hey Jude in the end, where everyone goes na 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 na. That's what he's talking about. And most importantly, it's relatable to you. If you can see yourself within the song. If you're sad, you listen to sad music because sad music relates to you, because you hear the person singing about, oh, my baby's left me and I'm all alone, but I still love her. And if you're in the same situation, you're like, damn right, I still love her, Jesus, because it's inviting, it's relatable. And Ralph Murphy says that that's why you like some songs and don't like other songs. If one song speaks to you and you can see yourself within that song, you're gonna like it. But if you can't see yourself within the song because it's just not relatable to that degree, then you're not gonna like it. And understand, don't confuse relatability with like reflection, which that's what I'm gonna call what Ralph Murphy talks about, reflection, because relatability isn't what it is. Relatability is superficial. It's just like, hey, you like red shoes, I like red shoes too. Relatable, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about reflection. If you can reflect within yourself a certain emotion, a certain thing, and you can feel that coming from the song, that's what you're gonna like, because it's talking about something that's inherently true about the human condition. Or you just like it, you know, or it's just something that you fuck with, you know, like a power song. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about, okay? What I'm saying is, music does have technicality to it and formulas, whether it be music theory or it be the corporate songwriters who understand the way to arrange music to be profitable. But it also contains within it an inherent spirituality, in the sense that this is it's appealing to emotion and it's appealing to psyche, which isn't something that as humans, as scientists and mathematicians, we haven't truly grasped yet. We don't really understand it 100% yet. So music has that inherent spiritual aspect to it, where you will listen to a song where it will just completely lift you out of your chair, you know? So that is the beauty of music. So why can't HoloLive do that? Okay, like, I don't like hating on the Vtubers too much, but it is currently February 12th, and in the past 2-3 weeks, we've had like 2 songs be released by CoverCorp/HoloLive. That being Q, and that being Crony's Daydream, okay? And so the only reason I'm talking about this is because I was just kind of disappointed, you know, because music is a touchy subject for me, because I personally work really hard on music and all that kind of thing. So whenever I hear VTubers release music, it just never feels real. It's just not real. Did I say it? Their music isn't real, okay? Because first of all, it's not music of a person. I can't connect with a person because I'm not connecting to anybody. I'm connecting to the persona, the idol image that they're selling me. You can argue that that's what most artists do anyway. They're not truly selling you all of themselves, but I'd argue it's even worse for the VTuber. Because yeah, whenever you listen to like a song by like any popular artist, you're listening to their image that they're selling you, but you still have that weird human connection with them because you see a lot of their life, you see a lot of their actual person, because you know that Lady Gaga doesn't act like Lady Gaga all the time. She acts like that on camera and maybe on film, but whenever you see interviews or like backstage camera and you see just that she's a person, you relate to it. But then with HoloLive, there's this whole culture of like, no, You don't need to know who the actual person is. You have to only rely on the actual VTuber. I guess it's more of a personal issue where I can't shake off the fact that they aren't real, that they're hiding behind a virtual persona. Pretty much, if I can't connect to the personal person, the actual human being, and I sure as hell can't connect to the 2D person, how the hell am I supposed to connect at all? So if I can't connect at that fundamental level, of course your music's not going to touch me in any way. But the biggest issue is for me is that the music isn't trying to connect with you in any way. Like, most genuine artists who are creating music are constantly trying to get better. You wouldn't want to be stuck in a box or become washed up and irrelevant or a one-trick pony. You should, as an artist, constantly have this desire to try to push yourself and make newer stuff, still keeping one foot in the door. I mean, I think it was David Bowie who said that whenever you're making something, you should always try to push out your comfort zone. And just when you feel you're pushing enough that your feet is just off the ground, that's exactly where you need to be. I'm probably butchered that, but let's just say I paraphrased it. That should be your desire as a musical artist. Now, does everyone follow that? No. But right now I'm talking about HoloLive, so we're not going to talk about everybody else. I mean, I'm sure you could agree with me that if you met a person who maybe didn't sell as many records as whoever's the most popular pop artist right now, I'm sure you would agree with me that that one indie artist that's constantly trying to make something artistic and new is much more genuinely likable because they're making it almost out of passion, versus the pop artists who, while yes they have passion and yes they do love the industry, you can see that they've kind of valued the profit and the marketing and the marketability of their music over any sense of artistic endeavor, over the sense of pushing themselves to push their own boundaries. I'm sure you can agree with me on that. And that is true for the musical artist. Now, I understand that VTubers, and specifically the HoloLive VTubers, aren't musical artists. At least that's not their trade. That's not their shtick. I mean, Callie is, but I'll get into that much later. So I understand they're all idols and that's not really what they're supposed to be doing. They don't have to be that good at it. But here's the thing. If you're gonna step into the ring, you best bring your A game, okay? Because this is an industry. Music is a battlefield in which you are competing. So if you're gonna step into the music, you best bring it, okay? That's all I can say, really. You have people who have less, okay? And I don't really like talking about inequality or any of that. So, but in this case, yes, you have people who have less, but they have that desire to do more, okay? And because of that, whenever they're developing their craft, their music, there is something about them that gets leaked into their craft. I like to think about how, whenever you're learning a new skill, you encounter obstacles, and the way you react to those obstacles determine kind of the personality you have within that skill now. If you want a practical example, think about how if you're learning a new skill and you learn it fundamentally wrong, well, you're going to do that fundamentally wrong forever. I mean, you might still get the correct result, but the way you're doing it might be super longer than the actual way, or it's just weird. But here's where the money is at. The spiritual example, okay? So if you are a struggling musical artist and you are trying your best to make music with all you got, and all you got is a guitar and a mic and that's it, well, honestly, you're probably better off than a motherfucker that got everything handed to him. And he just woke up one day and decided to be a musical artist, and then bam, tomorrow he's in the studio. You can say that you, with the guitar and mic and nothing else, a fucking job that you have to go maintain at the same time, an apartment with bills that you can't fucking pay, and a fridge empty with no groceries, I'm sure you can say that your music is going to come from a much more genuine place because of that suffrage, versus the motherfucker that got everything handed to him. That's a very exaggerated example, but you understand the emotion that I'm getting at. The artist that's pushing himself, pushing his own physical boundaries, and then eventually his own musical boundaries, is genuinely more enjoyable to listen to than what I'm about to get into, the VTubers. Because I understand the VTubers worked really hard to get in the position they're in, but the thing is, well, you made it. Congratulations. So what about it, okay? Because as I addressed, you have those artists who are just bedroom pop artists and all they got is a mic and the guitar, versus HoloLive, where you got marketing, you got branding, you got production, you got teams of motherfuckers to write songs for you. You have like complete industry backing, you know? That if you really wanted to push yourself and push your craft, oh yeah, you have everything set. But they don't want to. That's my issue, is that they do not want to, which is why I believe they don't make good music. Because I mean, first of all, the most obvious thing is like the language barrier. Some of the songs are mostly in Japanese, and I don't know Japanese, so I can't really feel it. No, don't worry. I've listened to some Japanese music where the melody is just so beautiful that it makes me cry. Just listen to Humbert Humbert from the folk album. Anyway, that song, beautiful melody. I don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but it's just like a banjo and it makes me cry, okay? So language does limit, but it's not an end all. It's not completely a handicap. But the content present within the songs produced by HoloLive, and especially the English aspects, there's no substance. I don't relate because you already cut off the personal aspect of it. But now the actual content that's present, the objective content, doesn't have depth. This, I'm going to read you an excerpt from Daydream by Oro Crony. Well, it's not by her, it's by her team, but whatever. Here's some of the English lyrics. The time flows cruelly, unchanging humanity. We've reached the point of no return. Don't know how we should do. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, I understand what they're getting at. They're going at the fact that time is a worthy opponent that you will never be able to defeat because, you know, as time flows, you will never be able to get the time you wasted back. And that is the human condition, or at least part of it, okay? Further down, skip all this Japanese lyrics. Life and death at every tick. Humanity clings to the passing nostalgia. Will they ever escape from the chains of time? Only the clock will tell. Cool, man. Yay, I get it. Now, I can't criticize it hardcore because I understand she's playing a character, the Time Warden, who's omnipotent and all that kind of thing. But is that seriously just the perfect excuse, the perfect counter to not be able to make lyrics that are at least a little relatable, just a little bit profound, you know? She's playing with abstract concepts. But once again, an abstract concept doesn't mean there's no relatability. Have you ever listened to Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, okay? And that is one of the few albums that from top to bottom will make me cry. And that album itself, it's like just a bunch of abstract concepts. Of course, it's not that hardcore of abstract concepts because it was like the first album with those kinds of abstract concepts. So, you know, it's not that hardcore. It's a bit conceptual, but yet it still touches your soul. It still manages to touch the inherent truth within you that you can't shake. When you listen to the song That's Not Me, and how it's talking about leaving home and trying to be something but ultimately losing yourself and just longing for times that you once recognized, that was abstract as fuck at the time. But still, it manages to hit you. When you listen to it, you find yourself like, yeah, dead ass. I understand I'm comparing Oro Crony and her team of songwriters to Brian Wilson, who's one of the greatest songwriters of all time, but still, same league. The thing is, Brian Wilson had less and did more, and that's my biggest problem. HoloLive, these motherfuckers got so much backing and production, yet they're not even touching an ounce of what they could be. And if you're not trying to appeal to that inherent truth, why are you making music? I know why they're making music, it's not a fucking question, because it makes fucking money, man. I mean, they know. They're not trying to appeal to me, they're not trying to appeal to my mom, they're not trying to appeal to anybody. They're only trying to appeal to the audience that they've acquired who enjoy Crony's content, that's it. But does that mean we're not supposed to criticize it like actual music? Because think about it. There was this one time period on YouTube where like every influencer, every vlogger wanted to make music. Because that's where you had the Jake Paul, the Rice Scum, and all those motherfuckers making songs. And they was pretty serious about it too. They were making it as if they were like finna be like the next Grammy Award winners or something. No one batted an eye at criticizing that. People from like the smallest YouTube channels to the biggest were all criticizing those songs and judging it off of the same standards and merits that they would an actual music industry pop song. And they completely shat on them, and rightfully so. It was bad music too. But it's like, why is it that we don't give a fuck when they do it, But oh wait, no, VTubers, you can't judge them on that thing. Now, of course, this isn't a real argument. I haven't really encountered anybody who thinks that. But I'm saying this does bring up the question of like, have they not improved their music because we haven't criticized them? And by we, I just mean people who indulge in that music. Because when you listen to someone like Maury Calliope, and holy God, I really hate hating on her, but Jesus Christ, her raps aren't that good, man. And it hurts to say that because you can be like, oh, well, I want to see you rap. Well, I'm not gonna rap, but hey, I feel like I'd put a little bit more heart, soul, and passion because from the year that she's been doing this, I haven't seen any improvement. Like, I don't see her trying to push herself to be a better rapper, to have much more witty punchlines, to maybe try to get her delivery and her cadence to be a little bit more hard hitting, which that a legitimate criticism I have is that her delivery isn't as great as it should be. I mean, you have people like DMX, who once again he's a GOAT in many ways, so rest in peace, but can't really compare Maury Calliope to DMX. But think about DMX, he was shouting into the microphone. That dude barked into the mic. That was crazy, but that became him. People really liked that. So it's like, should we not expect Cali, or at least just someone who raps, to not try and be better, to not try and make their music and like, oh well, I like this song, it didn't flop I guess, but I should still try that next time. I'll try to have a much more harder beat, maybe I'll try to hit him with something harder in the lyrics every single time. When I listen to like the HoloLive singers, it just feels like more of the same. It doesn't feel like I'm listening to anything new. So it's like, why should I listen to your new shit if I could just listen to the shit you put out a year ago and it's exactly the same type of content? You're not pushing anything. There's nothing brand new to listen to. For any other musical artist, like an actual singer-songwriter, that's a death sentence. Like, if you don't improve at all, why the fuck should I listen to you? Does the same standard just not apply to the HoloLive singers? Now, once again, I will bring up, they aren't professional singers. Or at least, they're not in the industry, they're not in there to compete. But if you're not in here to try to make improvements to your craft, and not actually, at least you don't have that spirit within you to try and make a good song that might actually be more nuanced and touch the hearts of so many people listen to it, if that's not a desire you have, why the fuck are you doing it? I know why the fuck they're doing it, and you do too. But still, it's painful, It's a painful thing to think about. The final aim of all music is nothing other than the glorification of God and the refreshment of the soul. Now, minus the theology, focusing on the refreshment of the soul, your music, it really needs to hit that inherent truth of everybody. Because we all have pains, we all have joys, we have so many things that we can all resonate with. And when someone makes a song that is the perfect blend between the happiness and the sorrows of life, and have a melody and music that is equally complex and equally simple, you have a masterpiece. God only knows. The song from Pet Sounds, that is a masterpiece. If you have never listened to it, listen to it. And if you like that, listen to the entire Pet Sounds album. It is a masterpiece. Brian Wilson is a genius. And this was all one man who arranged, orchestrated everything. Brian Wilson. And you telling me HoloLive, Covercore, all them hoes, with their team of songwriters, with the motherfuckers who are in production, with their marketers and all that, they just can't possibly make a song that is just a little nuanced. It would be really cool if one day somebody like Galgura, Ina, or something, one of them tell their industry guys, hey yo, let me write something, or at least like let me suggest something. Like, I don't even know how much relationship, like how much direct input the actual idol has in the song, but let's just assume they have none. Wouldn't it be cool if one day they try to write it themselves? They sit there and try to write the lyrics themselves, try to make something themselves. And even if it's ass, which is probably gonna be ass, it would still make me at least feel better thinking, look, yo, your shit sucks ass, but mad props. I give you respect because you tried and you put yourself out there, just like the rest of us. And in terms of people like Maury Calliope, who's a rapper, it would be nice if she could push herself a little more, because as of right now, I don't feel like she's pushing herself. And I'm not gonna get into her actual personal life, because that's a whole other thing. I want to talk about Mori Calliope, okay? So it would be good if she could just push the limits of her lyricism, of her punchlines, her cadence, her delivery more to make the music different, to make it better. So that's why I think HoloLive is just incapable of producing good music, because they don't understand that fundamental ideal that is music. They view it as a product, as something you need to push to the fans to make money, which is all fine and dandy unless you're like me, who is into music and feels just a little disrespected, just a little bit. Because you're a person with a guitar and one mic, and I know motherfuckers who would kill to just have 2 mics. I would kill to have 2 mics, but that's not gonna happen, at least not anytime soon. So everyone's juggling these feelings and these problems and making music as a way to kind of cope in a way. You could say that creating things justifies the suffering that you've been through. It's okay that I went through all this garbage, because now when I'm creating this art, I'm channeling that, so it justifies it, it validates it. When you have people like that, and then you see HoloLive, such a big audience, you owe it to them motherfuckers to make a song that's good. And your fans will never tell you that. It pisses me off, actually, because I'll see, like, in the after party streams where they're all like, oh my god, your music is so good, I've been listening to it all day. You have shit taste, man. And no, don't you hit me with that. Let people enjoy things. Fuck you. I don't care. If you're enjoying something that's shit, it's still shit. I like Obla Di Obla Da. I know it's a bad song, but I like it. But that's because I have the standards to understand it's not a good song, but it has catchy stuff in it. Versus HoloLive fans, who in a way I don't think the majority of them know what is a good song. I don't know, I'm just generalizing. So yes, HoloLive music sucks.
You know, when you listen to a profound piece of music, one that sort of spans the whole emotional experience, it's not happy. Happy is elevator music, and probably you just shouldn't listen to that at all, right? And you think, why? Well, it's harmless, it's treacly, it's sweet, it's simple, it lacks depth, it's shallow, that's a problem. It doesn't have that deep sense of awe and horror, I would say, that is characteristic of the best of all music. There's this admission of a deep suffering at the same time as you get the beautiful transcendence of the music. And that's meaning, that's awful in the most fundamental sense, but you need an antidote to suffering, and it has to be deep. And deep moves you tectonically, and it's not a trivial thing. But that's better than happiness. It's better than happiness, but it's almost unbearable.